Chapter 1. The Key. The Donovan house always had its mysteries. To neighbors, it was perfect: gleaming windows, tidy flowerbeds, the smell of pies drifting out of the kitchen every Sunday. Inside, though, there were corners that nobody lingered in. The attic. The basement. And, as Emma Donovan was about to discover, her mother's jewelry box. Late one summer night, Emma found a small bronze key tucked beneath the false bottom of her mother's drawer. Its engraved crest was unfamiliar, and it didn't match any door in the house. Hours later, curiosity pulled her to the basement, where she discovered a trunk nailed shut. The key slid in perfectly. Inside were bundles of letters, written in her father's handwriting. Emma whispered the opening of one aloud. "My dearest Clara, and to our boy." Her father had signed it at the bottom. A boy. A family she had never heard of. The trunk wasn't just a container. It was a revelation waiting to spread like wildfire. Chapter 2. The Letters. Emma read through the letters one after another, her hands trembling. The story unfolded in ink. Years before marrying her mother, her father had lived in another city with a woman named Clara. Together, they'd had a son. For reasons never fully explained in the letters, he left them behind, promising to send money, to write, to come back. But he hadn't. Instead, he had built a new life here, with Emma's mother, pretending the past didn't exist. Emma's chest tightened. A half-brother. Out there somewhere. She stuffed the letters back into the trunk, but it was too late. The words were burned into her mind. When she turned around, her mother was standing in the doorway of the basement, her face pale, her eyes glistening. "I hoped you'd never find that," her mother whispered. Chapter 3. The Silence. Emma's mother sat her down at the kitchen table. The clock ticked in the silence between them. "Yes, it's true," she admitted finally. "Your father, he had another life before this one. I agreed never to speak of it. For you. For Michael." "But why?" Emma demanded, her voice shaking. Her mother's eyes filled with tears. "Because he swore it was over. Because I wanted to believe him. Because I didn't want our family destroyed by his past." The words sank in like stones. Emma wasn't just betrayed by her father, she felt betrayed by her mother's silence. Unbeknownst to them, Michael, Emma's older brother, had been listening from the stairs. His face turned white as he realized what he had just heard. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss more eerie and fascinating tales. Chapter 4. The Storm. Michael confronted them that night. "A brother." His voice was raw, cracking with fury. "He had another son out there, and you both just, what? Pretended it didn't matter." Emma tried to calm him, but he was shaking, his fists clenched. "I deserve to know who he is. I deserve to know the truth." Their mother tried to hold on to him, but Michael pulled away, storming out the door. The slam echoed through the house. Emma stared at the closed door, dread gnawing at her. She knew her brother well enough to realize he wouldn't stop until he found the missing piece of their family. Chapter 5. The Search. Michael spent days digging. He found addresses on old letters, tracked phone numbers, followed threads online. The obsession consumed him. Finally, he left town without saying where. When he returned a week later, he wasn't alone. Standing beside him was a young man who looked shockingly like him. Same sharp jawline, same dark eyes, only a year older. "This," Michael said grimly, his arm around the stranger's shoulder, "is Daniel. Our brother." Chapter 6. The Stranger at the Table. The family sat at the dinner table, but no one ate. Daniel's presence filled the room like a ghost finally given flesh. He was polite, quiet, but his eyes carried years of hurt. "You knew about me," he said finally, staring at Emma's mother. "You knew, and you let him forget us." Her mother bowed her head, unable to answer. Emma felt torn, pulled between loyalty to the family she knew and empathy for the brother she never had. Michael, though, was unshaken. "You belong here now," he told Daniel. But Emma wasn't sure if Daniel wanted belonging or revenge. Chapter 7. Cracks in the Foundation. Tension grew by the day. Michael and Daniel bonded quickly, inseparable as though making up for lost years. Emma felt herself slipping into the background of her own family. Worse, their father returned from a business trip and walked straight into the storm. When he saw Daniel sitting in his chair at the table, the color drained from his face. "Clara's boy," he whispered. Daniel's jaw tightened. "Your boy." The silence that followed was unbearable. Chapter 8. The Confrontation. That night, the house exploded in shouts. Michael accused their father of cowardice, Daniel accused him of abandonment, Emma begged them to stop, and their mother wept in the corner. Finally, Daniel stood and slammed his hand against the table. "I didn't come here for pity. I came here for truth. I want to know why you left us." Their father couldn't meet his eyes. "Because I was young. Because I was weak. Because I thought I could start over." The admission hung heavy in the air. For once, he didn't look like the strong, reliable father Emma had always known. He looked small. Broken. Chapter 9. Shattered Glass. The truth didn't fix anything. Instead, it splintered the family further. Michael began staying out late with Daniel, while Emma and her mother barely spoke. Their father moved into the guest room, as if exile could erase guilt. One night, Emma found her mother sitting alone in the dark, clutching one of the old letters. "I should have left him back then," she murmured. "But I was afraid. And now look what we've become." Emma realized then that secrets don't stay buried, they rot, spreading until the whole foundation crumbles. Chapter 10. The New Beginning. Weeks later, the Donovan house no longer looked like the postcard-perfect home it once was. The garden was unkempt, the windows streaked, the laughter gone. But something new had begun to form in the rubble. Daniel wasn't leaving. Michael wouldn't let him. And slowly, despite the bitterness, Emma began to accept him as family. Their father tried, fumbling with apologies, but whether forgiveness would come was uncertain. Emma stood at the window one morning, watching her brothers, two now, tossing a ball back and forth in the yard. She felt a strange mix of grief and hope. The secret had destroyed the illusion of perfection, but in its place was something raw, fragile, and maybe even real. For the first time, the Donovan family wasn't a picture. It was a story, unfinished, complicated, but alive.